Good morning, everyone. This is Lee Andrews on another Live with Lee. Today I'm featuring Jocelyn McCarty, and I want to thank our sponsor, Onward Search, for allowing us this time online with everybody. So if you're looking for work, please get a hold of Onward Search. They do everything with marketing, communications, creative, digital, technology, and they have a primary capability within gaming, which is very unique in the staffing industry. So, Jocelyn, thank you so much for coming on today's Live with Lee. I certainly do appreciate it.
Thank you, Lee.
Yeah.
I'm to be here.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting conversation because I will tell you that I've never had anybody on live to talk about talent acquisition and CHRA simultaneously from the Kennedy Krieger Institute. So this will be very cool to get a look inside. So why don't you first talk to us about what Kennedy Krieger Institute is, what the organization does?
Okay. Well, the Kennedy Krieger Institute, we are primarily a resource center, mainly for kids, but we do provide services to adults as well, or for the population that has injuries to the brain or spinal cord. So we see a lot of patients with Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, a lot of rare genetic disorders, learning disorders, things like that. So we do have an inpatient hospital. We have several outpatient clinics. We have a school system for special education. We do a lot of research. Not only do we want to provide treatment to these patients, but you also want to research these diagnoses and these disorders to try to find cures for these patients. We have daycares for medically fragile infants and toddlers, as well as homeless infants and toddlers. And we do a lot of advocacy and outreach and education. Another area that not a lot of people realize that the Kennedy Krieger Institute studies is we also have a department for child and family traumatic stress. So our main location is in downtown Baltimore. So especially with that population in the city, we have a lot of children that come in. They have no clinical diagnoses, but maybe they're not doing well in school, or they're not getting good grades, or having problems forming attachments with parents or making friends. And again, there might not be any kind of clinical diagnoses to explain these issues, but maybe there was some sort of early childhood traumatic event that led to these things. So common things might be a parent or guardian who is incarcerated, parent or guardian having challenges with drugs or alcohol addiction, things like that. So we also reach out to those populations to provide guidance and treatment and therapies and interventions to help those patients.
That's fascinating. Yeah, that whole trauma-informed care piece is really something that's starting to become more prevalent because as children go through the schooling process, right, their public education, a lot of these things are going undiagnosed, undetected, undiagnosed. So are we working with regular public school settings or any public school setting to help inform teachers about trauma-informed care? Is Kennedy Krieger also part of that?
Yeah, I believe so.
Interesting. Yeah. So, I'm surprised. I did not know that Kennedy Krieger went that extensively and that broad in that support area. So they've got their own school system. Is this school system, is this part of the public, school education? Are they doing the same or similar curriculums, or do they get a degree from this, a high school degree, or tell me about that school capability?
So they're private Kennedy Krieger schools, our own schools, and for special education, it goes up to the age of 21, where you would receive a certificate. So whereas in mainstream school, you graduate in 12th grade, again, with this population at age 21, they are awarded a certificate of completion.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So that helps. The ultimate goal is to help these individuals become self-sufficient and independent as much to whatever degree that they can be in the economy. And I think that's wonderful. So, and there's also, it sounds like there's also a wonderful just family care solution that goes around this. It's not just the individual, but it's the entire family becomes part of this. Is that right?
Definitely. We believe that it's a very collaborative process. We want to invite the whole family in. So whomever the guardians are, parents, even siblings, grandparents, so whomever's in the household and gives support to that person, they all really need to be involved in the process. And studies have shown in healthcare that, when the family is involved to give support and to nurture, the patient does better or the student does better. So it really is essential for family members or whomever's in the household to contribute and to collaborate and to support that person.
That's great. And Kennedy Krieger is profit, nonprofit, not for profit, nonprofit. Okay. So it's good to donate to Kennedy Krieger.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. That's great.
Definitely.
So I know that there's a lot of opportunity for us to be part of your organization and support that community, the families and the patients as well. So that's terrific.
Definitely.
So let's talk about your role a little bit, and then we're going to move on to talking about CHRA and how that has, supported your career, because they tend to go hand in hand. So you are a senior talent acquisition partner within your organization. How long have you been with Kennedy Krieger?
In the fall, I'll have been with Kennedy Krieger for 8 years.
Wow. So
Yeah.
what are some of the things that keep you there? Because this is really a nice opportunity for people to say, hey, do I have this?
Kennedy Krieger is just a really nice place to work. The people are very nice and supportive. My boss, Tina Schmidt, she's amazing and wonderful. She supports me with everything that I do, and she advocates for me. So working for her is great. My talent acquisition team is wonderful. We all work great together. We help out each other. We get along wonderfully. And then with Kennedy, again, with what we do and our mission, there's nothing better than that, to help children reach their fullest potential, these children with special needs. There's no more meaningful place to work than the Kennedy Krieger Institute. Again, we're in downtown Baltimore. We're in the community. We're actively helping the community. So that makes it even more meaningful as well. So, when you like who you work with, when you like what you do, I think I'm good at what I do. So that's great too. And then you have meaning with what you're doing. And again, with what I do, I am not a clinical person. I'm not a nurse. I'm not a classroom assistant. I don't work directly with the students or the patients or their families, but I help assist bring those people into the organization. And that's just as meaningful. So to have a part in that process, it just means a lot. So I think that's what keeps me at Kennedy. And I really like it a lot.
So you're doing something that you're good at. You're doing something that you enjoy doing. You enjoy the people that you work with. You feel as though you're supported from management, and you're giving back to the community. I think you've just checked off every box to how one is managing their career in the best way based on what's important to you. That's wonderful. So let's talk about, you have several positions that you have open. We've got lots of time remaining on the clock. Before we get into those, I do want to ask you, as a recruiter, because people ask me this all the time, the ATS, let's put this question to bed. You have an ATS, is that right?
Yes.
Is that ATS your friend, or is it something that you have to use, or something that you enjoy using? What is your overall take on the necessity of your ATS from a talent acquisition leader's role?
I feel like it definitely is my friend. It definitely helps me keep organized. We get hundreds and thousands of applications every year, so it definitely keeps us straight. Early on in my career in talent acquisition, I have worked at organizations where they didn't have an ATS, and we just used an Excel spreadsheet, if anything, and that was just kind of a mess.
Painful.
Very painful. So your ATS is definitely your friend. I think it only gets angry with me and we break up for a little bit when there are upgrades and we have to relearn things because,
Mm,
just like everyone else, you get into a groove and a routine and then things change to try to improve things and then you have to learn the new way and then you get used to that. But in general, it's really a necessity. You can pull demographics and reports, and you can mine your ATS for applicants. So it really is a good tool to have. It's necessary.
yeah. So I would agree. It does help organize. It does help the recruiter organize and prioritize. So from a candidate standpoint, you say that you get hundreds of thousands of applications every year. And why wouldn't you? It's a great organization that many people want to be a part of. So the common complaint from candidates is that their resume goes into the ATS and that it's just history. Nobody ever sees it, nobody ever looks at it. What are your thoughts on that? What would you say to those candidates?
I definitely feel and hear their frustration, and I talk to those applicants all the time. I've talked to applicants who say, I've applied for years. I'm trying to get in there to find a job. I apply, no one ever calls me.
Mhm.
And it is frustrating because it does take time to enter and upload your information into the system. Kennedy does send an acknowledgement. So as long as you submitted your information successfully, you'll get an acknowledgement. And there is actually a follow up where you can log back in to see where your information is in the system. And
Mhm.
then with our talent acquisition team, we're very candidate friendly. So, if you've applied, a week or so goes by and you haven't heard anything, you can call in to the Human Resources office and ask to speak to one of us. And we'll go right on in there and look you up and see where you are
That's great.
in the process. I've had many applicants say, I applied, I haven't heard anything. And I'll go in there, and if I see red flags or if something is missing or if something doesn't look great, I will tell them and I'll go, you may not be getting a call because of this, or you may want to upload a revised resume and fix this. So I really try to help people that take the time to call in, because they really want feedback. They really want to find a job, and any help I can give them to help them, whether it be finding a job at Kennedy or anywhere else, I definitely will take the time to do that because they took the time to enter in all that information. I can give them the courtesy of taking a look and giving them my 2 cents. So,
Boy,
yeah.
I hope if that alone doesn't encourage people to, take the time if they really, and I think that what you're saying is that these people are serious about wanting to be a part of Kennedy Krieger. It's not just that they want a job. It sounds to me like if they're taking that step to say, I want Kennedy Krieger in my portfolio and I'm going to take the time to call, you're going to take the time to give them some feedback. So talk to me about why you might not see their information or why their information might not be bubbling to the top or make it through the screening process. What are some of the common mistakes that candidates are making when they
Some
upload their information?
Some of them are really simple things. They might upload the exact wrong thing. I've seen people's homework and
Oh,
research papers uploaded. I've seen just really odd, obscure things uploaded. And sometimes it's just a matter of proofreading and going back and making sure, did I upload the right document, the right resume? Um, or like not even finishing your application fully. I know it's a pain in the butt to have to upload a resume and then you feel like you're being redundant putting that information in on the application. But just for us, that's part of our employment process. So it may be a pain, but again, with our process, you're uploading a resume, you're doing the application, you just do that stuff once and then you can apply for as many jobs as you want. So it's
wow.
yeah, it's a little cumbersome cumbersome, but as long as you do it once, you're good. And again, you will may have to do it again if you apply for something else and your employment information changes, which is a benefit to you because we want to see all that qualified experience for that position. But initially, it's a little cumbersome, but after that, it should be pretty user friendly.
That's
So
terrific.
just proofread. I've had a lot of, especially now through COVID, as some people have gotten laid off. You have people who are really trying hard to find a job and people who have been in the workforce for a while, and they'll leave some of their really old work experience off and only put in the most recent. And that has kind of hurt some people because as we're screening, we'll say, oh, this person really doesn't have the right experience. And then later on, we may hear from that person, again, if they call in regarding their application saying, hey, I applied for this position, I have so much experience. But then when we look at the resume and the application, we're not seeing that. So definitely if you're applying for a job and you have a ton of relevant experience for that position, make sure that's included because that's going to help you at least get a screening interview or that initial interview or consideration for that position. So you earn that experience, show it off when you're applying for various positions.
Yeah, show that off. Show that experience off. So let's talk about that. How far back? You're saying that they're leaving off their experience, their dated experience. Are they only going back 5 years? Are they going back 10, 15 years? Or does it, what are you seeing? What's the trend there?
It varies. There are some people, who've been in the workforce for a while. Maybe they're only including 10 years and nothing farther back than that. So it's really hit or miss. It's a variety.
So go back, whatever. So even if they had a job, even if they changed jobs or switched careers over a period of time, make sure that relevant experience to the job that they're applying for shows up. So
definitely.
Okay, cool. So in terms of the question is, do you look at every resume that comes through or do you trust the ATS to say that, no, we don't want, somebody's homework in the interview. So how do you manage that?
We look at everyone. We don't rely on the ATS to screen people out. We look at each and every resume. Now, what's that stat that a recruiter will spend 6 to 7 seconds on each resume? Right. At this point in my career, it might be 3 to 4 seconds, especially with the volume of applications I have to look at right now. But I definitely look at each and every application.
All right, let's make sure that we say that loud and clear because that's everyone's biggest pet peeve, that their resume goes into a system and they believe that within 30 seconds, they get a response that thank you very much for applying. And so they're like, this is just all automated. This is all AI. The fact of the matter is that a human being is scanning your resume. So what's the most important information that you need to see first? Where are those, excruciatingly important, 10 seconds or 3 seconds spent for you?
It's definitely important when my eyeballs hit that paper as far as the resume that it just looks good. It's formatted good. You don't need to add a picture. You don't need to add any fancy graphics. As long as it looks good and clean and professional, that's a great start. Always look at the posting or the job description of the job you're applying for and make sure you're meeting the minimum qualifications of that job. I'll see lots of degrees and skills that an applicant might have, and then I'll compare that to the job they're applying for, and I'm like, what? This doesn't make sense. So unless you're a career changer, but try to, really highlight the skills in that job description and kind of match it to what you bring to the table as well. And then if you have that, there's no denying that you're qualified or meet the minimum qualifications for that job and are worthy of a phone screen or an initial interview. So
that's terrific. Yeah. How are you conducting phone screens these days? Are they over the phone or are you using video? How's that working?
We're doing both. We're doing phone screens and we're doing initial Zoom interviews. That might be an initial screen via Zoom, and then the first couple interviews or first, second round are via Zoom or whatever platform. And then some managers are just hiring virtually. Others really want to have that final interview in person, just to meet that person in the flesh. They can come see the work site, come see where they would be working, and the environment. So we're doing a combination of both.
So how is that working in terms of meeting in person? Because COVID still is an issue for many, vaccinated or not. So what kinds of things should candidates expect when they come in for a personal interview?
Definitely expect to bring your mask and wear it the whole time. We definitely have screening at the door, so you'll be asked a series of questions. You'll have your temperature taken, no handshaking, things like that. You'll probably be in a conference room, spaced out. But other than that, we definitely want people coming in, our visitors, to feel safe when they do come in and to feel comfortable. So these practices are in place not only for us, but for their safety as well.
That's great. That's wonderful. So we are very serious about that. So how is that working in your schools? I'm interested to know. I'm not sure if you're aware of how that's happening, because you're back in school, right? Everybody's back in
We
school.
are trying to open back up the schools. When COVID hits, we had to shut down our schools, and then we
Right.
adjusted to a virtual school setting. And so now we're staffing up to get back into the classroom.
Terrific. Terrific. All right. Now we've got 10 minutes left, because 9 minutes, because what you do is so fascinating and how you do it is even more interesting. And I know that you've got a bunch of roles that you're looking for. So I promised you that you were going to take some time talking about those roles that you are actively looking for. So do you want to run through them real quick? And then I want to talk about CHRA.
Yeah, definitely. So, right now at the Kennedy Krieger Institute, we have a plethora of open jobs. And if you go to our careers page, so if you go to www.kennedykrieger.org, up at the top of the page is the career tab. And if you click on the careers tab, you can go to the search section and search by location, by job category, by shift, but numerous
Oops, we're having a little technical
hospital
difficulty
clinics,
here.
the school system, research positions.
Oh, we're having a little
Oh,
technical
is
difficulty
that
here. It
better?
looks like your connection. Yeah, it looks like your connection was a little shaky there. All right, go ahead. So go into Kennedy Krieger careers
Okay,
page, look at the
so
job openings. Oh my,
job
Jocelyn, please.
openings. Better?
Yep, keep going. We'll
I
catch
feel
up.
like we're frozen. Are we not on? Okay.
I'm There we go.
So again, open jobs in the hospital, clinics, research jobs, education jobs, again, advocacy, outreach, community education. Right now, we are recruiting heavily for classroom assistants because, again, we are staff. Our school system kicked to get that back open. Another popular position is the clinical assistant position, and that's working hands-on with our patients on our neurobehavioral unit. And these two positions, they are entry level. You don't really have to have experience, just desire. They are awesome.
Looks like we are having some more technical
Full-time benefit.
difficulties.
One of our most amazing.
Oh no. Hang on with us, folks. It's coming back. All right.
Are we back
Just
online?
Yep, we're back online. Go ahead.
So I was talking about our benefits for our entry-level positions, but one of the main amazing benefits is our tuition reimbursement to either finish or go back to grad school.
Wow.
So you're eligible for that after 6 months of employment. We pay tuition, no books or fees, and there's no commitment of employment after you're done getting your degree. So we have a ton of employees who take advantage of that to go back and to grad school and to finish school. role. So again, along with the other amazing benefits that you get, health, vision, dental, retirement plan, retirement matching, this tuition benefit. We also, for those who have college bound kids, can help pay for your college students' tuition as well. So we have so many amazing benefits. And then besides those, also with the entry level positions, there's so many opportunities for advancement and growth as well. So you never have to feel like you're growing stagnant in your career. You can constantly keep growing and achieving more.
Well, I can see why you've stayed there for 8 years. So that's terrific. Those are a lot of benefits, especially for some of the recent college graduates who are interested in getting into this practice. That's incredible. So one of the benefits of CHRA, which is the Chesapeake Human Resources Association, which is a super mega chapter within the SHRM organization, is doing what you just did today. Getting exposure, allowing the opportunity for others to understand what your organization does, what you do, how you do it, and the opportunities that you have available within your organization. That's a huge lift. So you've got your own dedicated 30-minute spot here. So that's good exposure for you. Now, in full disclosure, you and I work on the same committee on the board, on our communications committee, and you recently joined it. So talk to us about what CHRA means to you, and how it's been helping you in your career.
So I just talked a second ago about feelings of being stagnant in your career. And I definitely think with joining and being a member of CHRA, that will never happen. So being a member of a professional organization like CHRA within the field of HR has been just so beneficial in my career. You know, it gives you a chance to network with other HR professionals, gives you a chance to network and stay in touch with other talent acquisition professionals.
Mhm.
Opportunities like this to go live on the internet to talk about Kennedy Krieger and our open jobs and our culture. So it's just a way to stay current on trends, keep in touch and network with professionals in the field. Definitely, if HR is your career and you're passionate about it, and just want to stay current and network and talk to experts and subject matter experts and have questions and need advice or a mentor, CHRA is definitely an organization to be a part of. So I have been part of the organization for many, many years. And I really miss, now that we're in this pandemic, getting together for conferences
I know.
and events and seeing colleagues and other recruiters that I used to work with. That was like the excitement twice a year to see these
Mhm.
people that I used to work with all the time. And being virtual is just not the same, but
Yeah.
it's nice to be part of an organization that supports all of us.
Yeah.
You can talk to your friends and your family about work, but when you're in CHRA, they really understand what you're going through. When you talk about
Mhm.
your workload and the stress and the challenges that you have, these are people who actually understand where you're coming from, who can relate to you, sympathize and empathize, and give you real advice on how to deal with the challenges and the issues on the job that you experience daily. So it's a professional organization. It's kind of like a support group as well.
Mhm.
The camaraderie and the friendships that you'll make, and it's fun. I feel like, especially in talent acquisition, I feel like that's a fun group. They're social. They like to talk and showcase, their
Yes, we
organization
do.
jobs. Yeah. So it's a good group. I think
Yeah,
it's a good
that's
group.
terrific. I think what hits home for me with what you said is that HR is very isolated, right? It's very different position function within an organization. So to surround yourself with people who get you is really important. HR took a big hit during the COVID. It actually elevated the need and the capacity as well as the capabilities of the HR function. It took it to a whole new level. So and it really is about that human element, right? How do we maintain compliance along with being humane? And humanity. And I think that overall, our industry did a phenomenal job over these last few months. So, as they always do. So it is now, we've got about 20 seconds left on the clock. I want to thank you, Jocelyn, so much for being with us today on this version of Live with Lee and showcasing CHRA and what you do in Kennedy Krieger Institute. Thank you for all the service that you're providing to the community. It is much needed. And all of the members of Kennedy Krieger for doing what you do. I can't imagine what Baltimore or the families and the patients would do without you. So in CHRA, please come join us. Go to chra.org and become a member. So we'll look forward to seeing you. And if you are a CHRA member and interested in being showcased, please drop me a note in our CHRA exchange, which is a very cool members only access to people, to our member directory, and one another's expertise. So thanks again for popping in, and have a great day, everyone.